how Michael Carrick is rebuilding Manchester United. Manchester United are changing. Not with a single signing, not with one big result, and not with one lucky season. Something bigger is happening at Old Trafford. Michael Carrick is rebuilding Manchester United. But unlike previous rebuilds, this one feels different. It's not built on superstar signings. It's not built on headlines. And it's not built on short-term fixes. It's built on an idea, an identity, a vision for what Manchester United should become again. When Carrick took over, the challenge was enormous. United were a club searching for direction. The squad had talent, but the performances were inconsistent. Fans wanted more. The club wanted more. And above all, Manchester United needed a clear football identity. That's where Carrick began. Not with transfers, not with tactics, but with culture. Because every successful team starts with standards. Training standards, professional standards, performance standards. Carrick understood something many managers forget. Before you build a winning team, you must build the right environment. And slowly, things began to change. Players started looking more confident. The football became more controlled. The team became harder to play against. And for the first time in a long time, fans could actually see a direction. But culture alone doesn't win football matches. You also need a system. And Carrick's system is built around one word: control. He wants Manchester United to control games, control possession, control territory, control the tempo. For years, United often looked reactive, waiting for moments, waiting for mistakes, waiting for counterattacks. Carrick wants something different. He wants United to dictate matches, to become the team other clubs fear, to become the team setting the rhythm instead of chasing it.
That's why Carrick felt so different from the beginning. No dramatic speeches, no "I am here to save Manchester United" moment, no ego, just calm, cold calm. When he took over in January, expectations were tiny. Stabilize the season, secure Europe if possible, hand over the club to the next big appointment. That was supposed to be the job. But then something unexpected happened. The players started believing again. Football clubs run on emotion, and suddenly the emotion around United shifted. In Carrick's first 5 games, Manchester United looked reborn. 4 victories, 1 draw, but more importantly, the performances carried purpose. First came the derby, a 2-0 victory over Manchester City at Old Trafford.
He's clinical!
Not lucky, not chaotic, controlled. Suddenly, United weren't passing for the sake of passing. They were hunting. In his first game against Manchester City, United had only 42% possession, but they had 10 shots on target. It was Fergie ball updated for 2026. United didn't look scared anymore. Then came the trip to the Emirates, away against title challengers Arsenal. For years, this was the type of match United lost before kickoff. Instead, a fearless 3-2 victory.
It's the run of play! Manchester United make it 1-1!
Transitions sharp, midfield compact, attack ruthless. Then came Fulham, a late winner. Fergie time.
Benjamin Sesko! It's the spirit of Fergie time!
Old Trafford exploded with something fans hadn't felt in years: recognition. Because the feeling looked familiar. Not identical to Ferguson's era, but emotionally similar. The resilience, the belief, the refusal to panic. Even after a powerful 2-0 victory over Tottenham Hotspur.
And he falls from Bono! Squeezes it in through the forest of leg!
A team Manchester United hadn't beaten since 2023, and a frustrating 1-1 draw against West Ham United, Carrick refused to get carried away.
The 4 games that we've had have all slightly looked different, but we're not getting carried away. I'm not sitting here thinking everything's great, we've cracked it, there's a lot of work to do.
And slowly, the table started telling a story. Michael Carrick finishes with 39 points from 17 Premier League games, the most of any manager since his arrival. Champions Arsenal were 3 points off his Manchester United side. Enough evidence to stop calling it luck. So the question changed. Not, can Carrick survive? But, what exactly has he changed? The biggest transformation at United isn't tactical, it's psychological. For years, United played football like a team carrying trauma. One mistake and heads dropped. One conceded goal and panic spread everywhere. Under Carrick, that fear has started disappearing. Players look calmer in possession, defenders stop rushing clearances, midfielders stop forcing hero passes every minute. The team finally looks coached, but more importantly, the team finally looks connected. And that connection starts with one crucial detail: roles. Every great Ferguson side understood roles perfectly. Not everybody needed to be a superstar, but everybody needed to understand their function. That's exactly what Carrick has rebuilt.
In my time, it was about winning, no matter how, especially when they were playing us. They were playing a different way. They adapted to situation in terms of how they were going to go about some games. Like they played us differently than other teams, and they had flair, they were direct, they needed to be direct, they could fight and win. When you think about Man United in my time, you think about a team that's there to win, no matter how.
Nobody represents this transformation more than Bruno Fernandes. For years, Bruno carried United alone, trying impossible passes, forcing moments, playing emotionally instead of structurally. Because the team depended entirely on chaos. But Carrick changed his role completely. Instead of being everywhere, Bruno became central, almost like a false 10, drifting between midfield and attack, controlling rhythm instead of forcing magic. And suddenly, Bruno looks brilliant again. Not because he's doing more, but because he's finally being asked to do less. That's elite coaching. Ferguson understood this better than anyone. The best managers don't overload talent, they simplify talent. Carrick is doing exactly that. And under Carrick, Bruno exploded again, leading the league in creativity, breaking Manchester United's assist record, and completing a stunning career resurrection by winning the FWA Footballer of the Year award. Then there's the midfield. For years, United's midfield felt broken structurally. Too open, too emotional, too easy to play through. Now, there's balance. Kobbie Mainoo looks fearless, not as a wonder kid surviving games, but as a real midfield controller. His partnership with Casemiro has transformed the center of the pitch. Mainoo brings calm under pressure. Casemiro brings aggression and positioning. One controls tempo, one destroys transitions. And together, they give United something they haven't had in years: midfield authority. Under previous managers, Mainoo often looked isolated. Now he looks protected. That matters for young players. Ferguson always protected emerging stars with structure. Carrick seems to understand that instinctively. For years, United attacked like strangers meeting for the first time. No spacing, no chemistry, no coordinated pressing. Now the front line finally feels synchronized. Benjamin Šeško is starting to show why Europe rated him so highly at RB Leipzig. His movement stretches defenders constantly. He doesn't just score, he creates fear. Then there's Matheus Cunha. Carrick has turned him into chaos with purpose, not random dribbling, not emotional pressing, directed aggression. Cunha triggers pressure, breaks defensive shape, creates panic zones, and suddenly defenders can't settle against United anymore. Meanwhile, Patrick Dorgu has become one of the biggest surprises, especially in massive matches. Against City, against Arsenal, he looked fearless, aggressive as a left winger, direct in transitions, relentless without the ball. These aren't isolated performances anymore. There's a pattern. Players aren't just improving individually, they're improving together. That's what real systems do. For years, United defended like a team expecting disaster. Panicked clearances, broken lines, constant emergency defending. Now, the backline looks composed, compact distances, controlled pressing, better communication. The defenders aren't constantly exposed anymore because the structure in front of them finally works. And this is where Carrick's Ferguson influence becomes obvious. People remember Ferguson for attacking football, but Ferguson's greatest teams were mentally stable teams. They controlled emotional momentum better than anyone. Carrick seems obsessed with that same principle. Control the game emotionally first, then dominate tactically. This is the part nobody wants to admit. Carrick isn't trying to become the next tactical revolutionary. He's rebuilding Manchester United using old Manchester United principles.
And that's why recruitment has become so important. Every signing must fit the vision. Every signing must solve a problem. Every signing must move the club forward. That's why Manchester United moved for Ederson, because he fits. A midfielder comfortable under pressure. A midfielder capable of controlling possession. A midfielder who understands modern football. And that's also why United continue to be linked with players like Mateus Fernandes. The club isn't just buying talent, it's buying profiles. Players who fit Carrick's long-term project. Players who can grow together. Players who can help shape the next Manchester United. Perhaps the most exciting part of Carrick's rebuild is the focus on youth. Manchester United has always been at its best when young players are given opportunities. From the Busby Babes to the class of '92, the club's history is built on developing talent, and Carrick appears determined to continue that tradition. Young players are no longer just squad options. They're becoming part of the foundation, part of the future, part of the plan. And that connection to Manchester United's identity matters, because fans don't just want success. They want success that feels like Manchester United. Of course, the rebuild isn't finished. Far from it. There are still positions to strengthen. There are still challenges ahead. And there are still questions that need answers. Can this team compete for the Premier League? Can they challenge Europe's best? Can Carrick take the final step? Nobody knows yet. But what we do know is this. For the first time in years, Manchester United appear to have a plan, a clear direction, a clear philosophy, and a manager who understands what the club wants to become.